Okay, so this little half sheet, we said this is page 27. Page 27. This half sheet has all vocab words on it. These vocab words are going to be used for the next 3 days, and then they are going to reappear throughout the semester, okay? Remember we've talked before that math is challenging to some people, specifically geometry, because they don't know the vocab. If you don't know the vocab, it's hard to know how to start the problem. We're going to highlight these vocab words. We have transversal, corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, supplementary, vertical, consecutive interior. Highlight all those vocab words. Then I'm going to tell you what they mean. Okay, the first vocab word says transversal. If you look at the picture, they're showing you what the transversal is. It's when you have a rogue line crossing over a set of lines that are going in the same direction. When you have a rogue line crossing over a set of lines going in the same direction. That's called a transversal. So it's transversing from one side to the other. Now, what do you notice about the lines? What do you notice about these lines right here? You don't have to highlight them. What do you notice about them? They appear to be parallel. Do y'all remember the word parallel from middle school? The word parallel conveniently has a set of parallel lines in it, which is one of the beauties of math. I love how they name things to help you remember it. If you will take your highlighter and come up here and highlight the L, the two L's in parallel. Now technically the third L at the end of parallel also is parallel. We're just going to do the two in the middle. So let me show you the symbol for knowing when lines are parallel or not, because you can't assume it. You can't look at it and say, oh, they must be parallel. There has to be a symbol, or you have to be told they're parallel. The symbol is either a little triangle on the parallel lines, little triangle, or what looks like an arrow, kind of like, y'all know, the old bow and arrows, and at the end it kind of has the feather V's on the end. That's the second symbol. So right here I'm gonna show you the other symbol, where you draw like the little arrows, the V's. So you're going to see either one. You're going to see the little triangles, or you're going to see the little V's. I tend to draw the V's because they're just faster to draw, but we will have a nice mix of both, okay? And that means, let's draw an arrow, that means parallel. That means those lines are parallel. All right, when you have parallel lines cut by a transversal, which is the title of the worksheet, when you have that phrase, and you're going to hear that a lot in the next 3 days, a lot happens. If I say, hey, you have parallel lines cut by a transversal, bam, you have all those vocab words there every time, okay? First, we have corresponding angles. Corresponding angles would be angles that lie in the same position and they are congruent to each other. That is the angle that you ended up finding just a few minutes ago with that video. Corresponding angles are equal. We're going to write right there, that's your equation. When I turn you loose with these polynomial expressions, you have to ask yourself, which equation is it? They're equal if they're corresponding. When I say same position, here's what I mean. Do you notice how there's 4 parts, 4 angles formed by this line intersecting the transversal? You have 4 angles. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. You see that? And then come down here. This line intersecting the transversal. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. Do you notice how the purple angle is in the top right of both of those sections? That's why it's called corresponding. It means same position, okay? Corresponding is the hardest one for people to remember for some reason. And I think it might just be because you have to look at it as 4 and 4, and it's top right, top right. All right, which brings us to the next one. Alternate interior angles. The name is literally telling you where to go. Alternate means you've got one on each side of the transversal. Interior means you are inside the 2 lines that are parallel. Let's make a note. We have parallel lines cut by transversal. The alternate interior angles will be congruent. They will be equal to each other. Make these notes on your paper, guys. It's going to help. Stay with me. They will be equal to each other. Now, alternate exterior. Same concept, but now it's where? It's on the outside of the parallel lines. I'm going to shade the outside here and down here to show you that it's on the outside. We're going to make our marks that we have parallel lines. We've got a transversal. We have alternate exterior angles, and they are always equal. They are always equal to each other. Stand with me? Now, the next one's a breath of fresh air. You already know this one, right? This word looks familiar. We've talked about this, supplementary, because you can make it into a what? An 8. It stands for angles that add up to 180. So if you notice right here, this is a line where you have an angle backed up to another angle. So they form a linear pair, which means they add to equal 180. And let's make that note in shorthand here. You have angle plus angle equals 180. That would be your equation there. You already know that one. That's nothing new. You also don't even need parallel lines for that to happen. Notice I did nothing with the top line. If you just have any 2 angles side by side, they're supplementary, which is exactly what y'all all did to find that 139. You found the 41 lined up with a bigger angle, took it from 180 and got 139. You also already know vertical angles. Vertical angles are any 2 lines that cross, and they are always congruent to each other, right? They're always equal. Now the last one's new. It's called consecutive interior angles. We are going to write a second name for it because sometimes it's called and we're going to write it right here above it, but I need you to know it's referring to this right here, okay? I'll draw an arrow. Same side interior angles. Sometimes they're called consecutive interior, sometimes they're called same side interior. Alright, what does it look like? Well, you have to have parallel lines, so let's make our notation. You've got to have the parallel lines cut by transversal. Then if you look on the inside, do you notice how they're both to the right of the transversal? And do you notice how they're in between the parallel lines? This angle is acute. This angle is, I'm going to make it dotted because I don't have room to do two lines, two arcs. This angle is obtuse. If I take that acute angle and add it to that obtuse angle, because of the parallel lines, I will get 180 every time. So they add angle plus angle equals 180. They add to equal 180. So, in a nutshell, your two scenarios are either the angle equals the angle, or the angles add up to equal 180, right? Okay, go to the second worksheet. We're going to practice identifying which angle would be congruent to which one. Now, I need you to know there are multiple right answers here. There's multiple right answers. I want us to fill in the top one. I want us to fill in example 1 using just vertical or linear pairs first. Vertical or linear. Okay? So let's look at it. We've got parallel lines cut by transversal. Angle 1 would be equal, let's don't even fill this in yet. Let's come over here. If I know angle 1, right here, what angle can I immediately say angle 1 is congruent to because it's vertical? What? 3. Angle 3 is vertical to angle 1. So let's come over here and find angle 3. We're going to say it equals angle 1 because it's vertical. Now, if I know angle 1 is congruent to 3, and then I have 2 and 4 here, do I have enough info? Let's say if 1 was 80 degrees, angle 2 would measure what? If angle 1 measured 80, angle 2 would measure 100. Why? They add up to 180. So angle 2 is going to equal the linear pair to 180. Now they did give us something to start with. What'd they say? Angle 1 is 65. So I'm going to go right here and write 65. Which means, do I have enough to find angle 2? Alright, what would it be? 115. If angle 2 is 115, we got that because it was I'm going to do LP for linear pair. Linear pair with angle 1. I guess on B I shouldn't write angle 1, I should write 65. I'm going to erase this right here and I'm going to put 65. And I'm going to say it was vertical to angle 1. There we go. All right. What is angle 4 vertical to? Angle 2. So what does angle 4 measure? 115. We're going to say vertical to angle 2. So I'm going to try and do marks here as best as I can. I had to do a different mark because it's a different measure. All right. Now, thinking back to the video at the beginning of class, can you, and looking at your half sheet, can you tell me the angle that corresponds with 1? The angle that corresponds with 1. Look at your half sheet. Think of the video from the beginning. Yes, it's angle 5. So angle 5 needs to measure measure how many degrees? 65 degrees. And we're going to say correspond, I'm going to abbreviate corresponding. Corresponding angle to 1. Now, if 5 is 65, it's going to get crowded. I now can label 6, 7, and 8. What angle is vertical to 5? 7. And then, how do I get the measure for 6 and 8? Six corresponds with what angle at the top? 2. 6 measures 115. You can say corresponds angle to angle 2. And if 6 measures 115, then what does 8 measure? 115. And it's vertical to angle 6. Now, was any of that challenging? Not really. Did it feel like a domino effect? Like once you started getting one, they kind of all fell into place? Yep. Okay, so this problem, what you've just done is the foundational concept to the entire lesson. The only thing that will change is I'm going to give you polynomial expressions instead of 65 degrees. Okay? So then you would have to either set them equal or add them up to 180. We're not going to jump right to that just yet, but I wanted you to understand that's where we're going. Now let's come down here to example 2. I want you to find all the missing angle measures, trying to use the new vocab words. Try to use the new ones. There should be one, now some of them repeat, but listen to me carefully. You should have vertical, linear pair, alternate interior, alternate exterior, and corresponding somewhere in your reasons. So the goal is to use your new vocab words. Find all those missing values.